Welcome back. Now, the United States says progress has been made in talks between Israel and Lebanon over their disputed maritime border. The US envoy Amos Hochstein has been shuttling between the two sides to seek a deal that has eluded 3 successive US administrations. Talks broke down in 2020 when Lebanon called for control of an additional 1,400 square kilometres. Earlier this month, Israel installed machinery to extract gas in the Karish offshore field, and that drew condemnation from Lebanon. Well, Israel's energy minister, Karin Elharar, has been speaking to I-24 News, and she dismissed Beirut's claims to that field. Take a listen.
I would like to clarify that the Karish gas field is not disputed, and it has never been. It wasn't even within the line that Lebanon submitted to the UN, which Israel did not agree to. It is not negotiable in any way. It is an Israeli gas field, an Israeli strategic asset. It's a shame. This is not constructive. I suggest that the Lebanese negotiation team proceeds with the talks. After all, it is a civilian economic issue. They should understand that and take better care of their civilians. The state of Israel has been systematically protecting its assets. The Israeli security forces are prepared for any scenario. I think that both we and the other side should focus on reaching a solution. There's no point in threatening, but we think it's worthwhile to negotiate with the assistance of the U.S. envoy in order to reach an understanding.
Well, for more on that, we're joined by writer and political commentator Dr. Nazir Al-Amari. Thank you very much for being with us. So, would you agree that we're moving closer to an agreement between Israel and Lebanon on their maritime border? And if so, what are the implications of that?
Well, it looks like it, and the implications is that everybody wants to sell gas. There is a market out there. The United States and its allies are aware of the need that Europe and the world have now for gas. The Israelis and the Lebanese understand that there is money to be made, there is a deal to be made. Lebanon needs this, and Israel needs this. However, as promising as this looks, taking a step backward for the parties in this region is always a possibility. I think everybody has an incentive for this to work, including the most radical in Lebanon, Hezbollah, because they are having a lot of problems with the Lebanese people not having access to energy or electricity. So I think, and they also want the Americans to be involved to kind of certify this deal. So I think it's possible. However, in this region, you should never say it's done until it's done.
Right, absolutely. Good advice. But why did Lebanon make those additional demands, do you think, back in 2020 for the 1,400 extra square kilometres? Because that doesn't seem to have strengthened the Lebanese position, and they are still a long way off from realising the potential of these gas reserves.
Well, I think they can't tap into what they believe will be their share of the gas resources. However, the Israelis will most likely cash in immediately within 3 months. So they want a share in this, and that's why they changed their position. Now they're willing to accept a compromise with changing the maritime border slightly. I think there's a lot of reasons for both parties to walk away, but I think they also see the potential of having a deal because it's really crucial and critical for both Lebanon and Israel to have these resources.
Right, and of course, Lebanon possibly needs the energy resources more, as you alluded to. They are going through an unprecedented economic crisis right now. Would you say this marks something of a change in strategy from Hezbollah, in that they're not so much seeking to ramp up the conflict with Israel?
I don't think this is a winning battle for Hezbollah or any Lebanese politician. I think they see the potential the political advantage of signing a deal and lighting these Lebanese cities, which have been living in darkness for decades. So I think everybody, of course, Iran is watching, and Iran does not want a deal like this to go through. However, Hezbollah's position is very delicate, and they don't want to look like they're spoiling an opportunity for Lebanon to to get some resources and get some access to energy. So there's a lot of reason for optimism, and it will probably go through unless if Lebanese politics kicks in, or Israeli politics for that matter, then we will probably be they will probably be walking away from a very good deal for both Lebanon and Israel and the world too.